All right, people, you guys are watching and or listening to another nomadical video for your guys' entertainment. Be sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, share, and of course subscribe for more epic, awesome, cool, funny, and interesting content just like this one right here, right now on the Nomadical YouTube channel. Because this shit is for your entertainment, people. That's right, this shit is for your entertainment. So today we've got an interesting subject. Today, by the title of the video, you should see it is about the Jehovah's Witnesses. So the Jehovah's Witnesses actually pretty recently came up to my house about a couple weeks ago or so. It was really weird because I kind of live out way out in the boonies. Like I don't live near like a major road or like I'm kind of like the closest main road is like a byway, and it's all dirt roads and crap to get up here. So I don't know how these people found this place, how they found my how they found my crib, but it was really interesting that they came all the way up here to the middle of nowhere, um, just to go ahead and I guess try to like convert people to their religion. Now, it's really funny timing actually, because around that same time when they actually came up to the house, I actually had been doing a little bit of studying on, well, just religion in general, but more specifically, studying on cults, Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, etc. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses handed me a little something like this, offering free Bible courses. And the reason they do so is because they want to kind of give you free Bible studies and then sit at your home and then read to you passages from their Bible, the New World Translation, and try to convert you and make you go to their church. They're basically selling their religion, because when you go to their church and you eventually convert over to them, well, when you do that, then you're basically mandated by their religion to actually go ahead and tithe to their church specifically. So it's not like if you go to a regular church or something, um, which I do attend a regular church. It's not like if you go there and they have tithing, they pass around the bowls, and if you got $1 or whatever, you give $1 to the church, or you have some spare change or something, you throw it in or whatever. No, it's more like if you don't tithe, it's similar to the Mormons. If you don't tithe, then they'll do things to like shame you and make you feel, bad, and make you feel about how, oh, you're disrespecting Jehovah, and whatnot if you don't give tithing. So they tend to use a lot of those tactics. They actually tend to use a lot of cult like tactics. They tend to love bomb people. They tend to be a little bit manipulative and stuff. Um, they tend to take people's room where they basically have you, and yeah, they, guilt tripping is one of the big use a lot. And I'm learning at around that same time from this YouTube channel called XJW Panda. And XJW Panda is, I mean, he's a hilarious YouTuber. You guys should go check him out. But he basically tells a lot of people to avoid the cult, and lo and behold, like 3 weeks after I bumped into his channel and started studying the Jehovah's Witnesses and whatnot, lo and behold, the Jehovah's Witnesses actually came to my door and handed me this thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's like this is what it looks like. It just says free Bible courses. They gave me a number on it. They also give you a QR code that will just take you to jw.org, or also known as the Watchtower. But anyways, we're really going to get into it about why these guys are a cult. Aside from what I've already explained about their guilt tripping, love bombing, manipulation, interrogations for when you break their rules and whatnot, and also mandatory tithings. Other things they tend to do as well, the Jehovah's Witnesses, is one of the big things they do is they are absolutely adamantly against further education and military service. So if you did any if you do military service, they don't allow that. They won't allow you to do military service. They won't allow you to go to college either. Why? Well, I can think why. Because if you went to college or you went to the military, that brings you away from their from their doctrines and their dogma and their church, and therefore, you might get smartened up there, and you'll probably be more prone to leaving them, or you'll be too busy and you won't have time for them, so you'll just leave them. And that scares the absolute shit out of the Jehovah's Witnesses cult. So they won't allow you to do that. Other things that might be a little bit more worrying, they won't allow you to get a life-saving blood transfusion. In fact, some Jehovah's Witnesses have even gone as far as to have a little card in their pocket of their shirt or the pocket of their jeans that say, "I am a Jehovah's Witness, and if I need a blood transfusion, don't give me it." Which, quite frankly, I feel like if I was an EMT, well, I would just give them the blood transfusion anyways, because I'd be like, what's more important, your stupid cult thing or saving your damn life? Like, what's more important? But hey, they are a little ass backwards. They're a little ass backwards. Other weird things they believe in is they believe that Jesus, Jesus Christ, they believe that he didn't die on a cross like how Catholics and Orthodox Christians and evangelicals, most of them, hell, even Mormons, believe he did. Instead, they say he died on a stake, which, yes, the Romans did have some executions on a torture stake, mainly burning people, but according to most historical record and most scholarship, it was more common to be crucified for criminals, especially criminals of, rebellion against the Roman Empire or religious crimes. And it is not unsurprising for it to be seen that Jesus too was crucified in a manner that is seen throughout, almost every single depiction of him throughout all of, the church's history. Especially given that if you take the people that were with him, his followers, at his word, that's how they describe him of dying. That's how they describe him, as dying on a cross, being crucified. Specifically through the nail would go through the radius and ulna, the space between those, the nails on both hands, and through both feet. They'd be lined up on top of each other like this, and then they'd strike a nail through that as well, right through the middle of both feet, which would be excruciatingly painful for anyone. And we just see that through most descriptions of these Roman crucifixions, that that's how they did it. They had a system of how they did it. It was to be used as a humiliation tactic, um, just to humiliate the criminal or whatnot that was being crucified. They had various different types of crosses. So you had some crosses that were like a capital T, and other crosses that were more like the traditional lowercase t, by the way. Um, and there's several Roman sources that go as far as saying that that is how they did it. So it makes very little sense for the Jehovah's Witnesses, only them, to go and contradict what everybody else is saying about how this one historical figure died. Even the scholars, the critical scholars of biblical study, even those who don't personally believe in the Christian church anymore, will say, yeah, he was crucified. And will reject what the Jehovah's Witnesses claim of him dying on a torture stake, which is just baffling why they think that. It's baffling. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses also have their very own Bible. Many religions prefer actually to use different kinds of Bibles. I know some churches, like the Catholic Church, will tend to use like something like an NIV, or they'll use like an actual Catholic Bible, which actually, fascinatingly, has, what is it, 73 books inside of it. Whereas if you go to like a Protestant church and you read one of their Bibles, they might give you a King James, or they might give you like a living translation Bible. So the Jehovah's have their own as well. The Mormons, even, they have the Book of Mormon, and I think they read the King James as their main Bible. I might be wrong about that, though. You're free to fact check me. But even the Mormons have their own book. So do the Jehovah's Witnesses. Their translation is called the New World Translation. The New World Translation is different than a regular Bible, whether you're reading a King James or NIV or New American Standard Version. The New World Translation, it's their own Bible that they've taken from a 1906 Hebrew Bible called Kittle's Biblia Hebraica, which is just a 1906. It's actually an outdated translation of the Hebrew Bible by a guy named Kittle. No, not tight end George Kittle from the San Francisco 49ers, just some guy, I think it's Rudolph Kittle or something like that, from when I researched it. But yeah, it's based upon that, and they actually went in there and changed a bunch of things to fit their theology. One of the big ones is John 1:1. The first verse of John, the book of John. What many Christians would consider one of the most important books in all of the Bible. Like, it's like one of the go-to books. And John 1:1, if you read the Bible, it says, "In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God." In the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible, it says, "In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was a God." Now, first of all, the Word was a God. Well, now that just doesn't make any sense, because the Word it's the writings on the paper, right? Well, how is that a god? You don't worship the writings on the paper. You worship God, right? So how does that make any sense? It doesn't make that much sense. And then when you find out why they say that, well, it's to essentially avoid saying that Jesus is God, because the Jehovah's Witnesses actually don't believe that Jesus is God. They don't really believe in the Trinity at all. It's really interesting, and it's a very convoluted story for another time. I don't even quite understand it. Then again, I don't fully understand how the Trinity works either. So if somebody wants to explain how that works, then they can. But I still I still don't see how the Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to deliberately translate or mistranslate, I should say, a verse from the Bible, and they do it on purpose to fit their own theological needs. They do it a few other times as well throughout their New World Translation. They often translate the word Lord in the Bible to Jehovah. Well, because they're Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's really interesting. It's interesting. I'm going to put it that way. Interesting. Intriguing, for sure. Definitely something that is worth being studied, if you ask me. It's worth being studied. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they are, how should I put it, quite strict on a lot of other rules in their religion as well. One of the big rules of their religion is no birthdays, no Christmas, no Easter, basically no holidays. They say all the holidays are pagan, and they're technically right about pagan origins for Easter and Christmas and Halloween as well. Technically right, but the Christian church did take over those holidays as the Roman Emperor Constantine wanted it to be. And so there really shouldn't be any reason to just throw out the old time traditions, especially just due to the good that the traditions actually do for us. You see, these holidays are meant for us to spend time together with families. They're meant for us to actually go and, um, be kinder and give to people in need, and, to have remembrance of important traditions for all of us. Doesn't really matter if you're Christian or you're pagan or you're Jewish or you're African. They all have these traditions around the same time or so, and they all ultimately have a similar goal in mind: to bring these families together and to have a nice feast and have a happy holidays. That is the point. The Jehovah's Witnesses instead would rather seclude, and they really only have one special tradition. It's basically communion service, but only the official baptized members in the church that are leaders are able to drink from that communion cup. And from what I hear is that those services at the Kingdom Hall, which is what the Jehovah's Witnesses call their church, from what I hear, they're pretty boring. Like a regular Kingdom Hall day is supposed to be really boring. Their communion cup ceremony is also extremely boring too, which is sad because, that is supposed to be in most churches the most dramatic sort of, you know, thing is, the whole death and resurrection of Christ, the Last Supper ceremony. It's supposed to be very dramatic. It's supposed to be very emotional service. Apparently, not so with the Jehovah's Witnesses. Apparently, their sermons are they're just bland. They're just bland, according to my sources. Now, another thing to know about the Jehovah's Witnesses is, well, let's just say they're very apocalyptic. That's right, people. They're very apocalyptic. Now, if you watch one of my older videos, it was called Will the Rapture Happen? It was in primarily response to claims that I think it was like during April 12th or something like that there would be a rapture because there was a lunar eclipse that was going to occur. And people in the fundamentalist evangelical community started flipping the fuck out because they thought that the rapture was going to occur and that everything was lining up from Revelation and that everything was going to happen. And then I slept through the night after doing that video, and then the lunar eclipse actually occurred, and I tried to get up early to see the eclipse, even though we would only see devil's horns. The tree line was too tall and I couldn't see it, so I just ended up going back to bed, and then I woke up like an hour and a half later. But anyways, no rapture occurred. And it seems with these fundamentalist groups, because the Jehovah's Witnesses also are a fundamentalist group, although a bit wonky because they're cults and they're just really, they just have very strange set of ideals. It seems with a lot of these groups that when you talk about Revelation, they take it completely literally, and they are apocalyptic because they believe that it is imminent. And that is another reason why they encourage their followers not to go and pursue further careers, not to go to college, not to join the military, not to go to Job Corps, not to join a union, not to do anything like that, not to go to trade school, but instead to work for free at the Kingdom Hall and build more Kingdom Halls, basically. Or work within the Kingdom Hall that's already established and basically clean up the Kingdom Hall, preach at the Kingdom Hall, introduce people to the Kingdom Hall, knock on doors, because that's what they do. They're kind of like the Mormons, knock on everyone's door all the time. Even at like 7 a.m, they knock on your door, and it's annoying sometimes. And most of the time they get the door slammed in their face anyways. But they still do it anyways for some reason. They just keep going to everyone's door. And they do that because they believe that the revelation is imminent. Well, so did Jesus also believe that, it was imminent? In fact, he said in Matthew that his generation would not pass before all these things would come forth, or before the rapture, or actually what it is called in the traditional Catholic sense is the parousia, which is what I prefer to call it. I prefer to call that event the parousia. They believe that it is imminent, just like Jesus did in Matthew. They believe that it is, they believe just like Paul, the Apostle Paul, who also believed that he and his followers would go up and meet Jesus in the sky and bring him down to earth to destroy the enemies on earth. They believe in the rapture being imminent, just like shortly in the time around the French Revolution, that many people in these theological circles actually started looking at Revelation and saying, hey, this looks kind of similar. And they started drawing lines together. jumping to conclusions, and then all of a sudden, the rapture is happening. And then they were wrong about that. And then in the 70s, around the time of the Six-Day War, there was a large movement of the evangelical church that also said that the rapture would occur because of the Six-Day War, and that after Israel won the Six-Day War, that rapture would occur. They were wrong about that. And, well, just like the lunar eclipse people, they were still wrong. In fact, they had made several predictions about the rapture, and they were wrong in 1874. They were wrong in 1914, and they were wrong again in 1918, and they just kept being wrong over and over again. So I really don't think it's... If the Jehovah's Witnesses somehow convince you after watching this video, I really don't think the rapture is going to occur imminently, because they've just been wrong. It's like the boy who cries wolf. You can only be wrong so many times before just no one takes you seriously, and you're just like, okay, you're full of it. Go run off, be in your little cult or whatever, but don't drag me into it. That's what I would tell him. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Jehovah's Witnesses? They have a website actually called The Watchtower, just so you know. And it's actually kind of weird. They call themselves The Watchtower. 1975. So many sold everything. Yeah, many people sold the farm. Many people sold like the whole farm just because they basically bought the bait that like everything was gonna hit the fan, and then shit didn't hit the fan after, and then oh well, it was kind of sad. Just jumped to conclusions a little bit too quickly. And yeah, they call themselves a watchtower anyways. They call themselves the Watchtower. And it's kind of creepy because it's like, we're the Watchtower. We are watching over you, like the Illuminati. They're kind of strange, man. They're strange. And it kind of fits their structure. They're kind of authoritarian in all of their ideas that we've explained already. A little authoritarian, a little bit crazy. But yeah, these Jehovah's Witnesses, man, they are a doomsday cult. They think the world's going to end any day now. And yeah, you don't want to get involved in their stuff. They might seem nice at first. But they're really not. In actuality, they just want you to give them your money, work for them for free, and obey all their rules, because if you don't, well, then you're in big trouble, buddy. Then you're in big trouble. And what are you going to do then? Huh? Nothing. But yeah, if they give you a free Bible course, don't call them back. Or maybe you do. Maybe if you take this video and you do some more research on your own, then maybe you could actually cook them in like a debate and destroy them. Maybe. But I feel like if you call them and you invite them to your house, well, then you're just asking for trouble, because they'll just keep showing up. And then you just have these annoying people that just keep showing up at your door. But yeah, when they gave me this card a couple weeks ago, when they gave me this, I basically, like, they came up to my property. My dogs were going absolutely batshit crazy, going nuts. It was very loud. I was like, what the hell is going on out here? I came out. I walked out. I saw their SUV that they were in. They were wandering around in the woods like wandering around all over the road. There was like 4 of them, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. And I said, Jehovah what? And I'm like, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses. You want a pamphlet? Do you want this? And they gave me a card. They said, oh, yeah, you can take this, and then you can call us and have a Bible study if you want. And I said, okay, thanks, but there's a sign over there at the end of the road. It says no loitering and no soliciting, and that this is a private road. You're not allowed to be up here. I'm sorry. You guys have to go home. And that's what they did. They went on back home. So if you ever run into Jehovah's Witnesses, just tell them no loitering, no soliciting, and I'm sorry, but this is a private residence. This is a private domicile, and I will not be disturbed. And yeah, and then after that, they will just have to go home. And you say, I'm sorry, guys, you just have to go on back home. You have to go back to the Kingdom Hall and, I don't know, cry about it. That's what I would tell them. Go back to the Kingdom Hall and cry about it. But yeah, what do you guys think? Have you guys ever had any discussions with Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, ICOC, or other crazy cults or whatever? Let me know in the comments down below this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all you guys' comments right here in the sidebar chat from Drake Dragon and Marmy Quebec. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Glad you guys enjoyed the show. Anyways, this is Nomadic Cole signing off with this quick live stream. Goodbye.